Hello, hello, and welcome to the Maleko and Flash podcast. I'm Maleko.
I'm Flash.
Are you sure about that, Flash?
Was
Took me a second to figure it out.
Is that too long of a pause? I don't know. I mean, at this point, we're all going stir crazy. I don't know who I am anymore.
All right, well, today we've got a very special guest joining us on the show. She's a professional golfer. She's actually on a professional golf course right now. Joining us is Christina Kim. She's an American
Hello, you guys. How are you?
Joining us from the LPGA Tour. She's on the Ladies European Tour. She won the 2004 Longs Drugs Challenge and the 2005 Mitchell Company Tournament of Champions. Hold on, Christina. I got a long list here. Member of 3 U.S. Solheim Cup teams in 2005, 2009, 2011. Known for her flamboyant style and her play and attire. And she's got this big outsized personality, and she's never afraid to speak her mind, which is exactly what we look for in a guest. Right, Flash?
Absolutely. She fits the profile. She sounds just like us, actually, with the bigger bank account.
Questionable,
Christina
to be
Kim.
honest.
Christina Kim, thanks for joining us on the show. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, of course. Aloha, guys. How are you?
I like
Very
it.
stoked to have you with
Absolutely.
us. What course are you on right now?
So I live in Florida these days by way of California. So the golf course I'm at is called Orange Tree Golf Club. It's a private course here in Orlando. And yeah, I just was out, played 36 holes, had a hole in one today, which was kind of neat.
What?
Very unexpected. The golf course
Does that
is
still
closed.
get
All the
exciting
practice.
for you? Hole-in-ones? Are there's like whatever?
It's never whatever, because it's like when you actually execute a shot that you're trying to go for, then you can most definitely still get excited. The only problem is because, you know, the state of Florida is in shelter in place. However, our governor has decided that golf is an essential sport. We can talk about whether or not we agree with that.
We should talk about whether or not we agree with that. I think we should start right there.
Okay, let's come at me, bro.
Hold on, Maleko. We need a word of the day.
All right, let's come up with a word of the day. Christina, this is where we drink every time you say the magic word or anyone says the word during the show. It can be any word. Just don't choose like the word the or and, because otherwise we'll be passed out in 10 minutes.
Okay, well, I will go with the word absolutely, because I've noticed that I've been using that way too much in my everyday vocabulary. So instead of using absolutely, I'm going to try and find some synonyms in its place.
Oh, fantastic.
Does that sound
So
good?
the word of the day is absolutely. Every time you hear the word of the day, make some noise. Woo!
Hey!
Nice.
What are you guys drinking?
Go ahead, Flash.
Well, I got so Christina, we do podcasts quite a bit these last few weeks, and
Wasn't that bottle full when we started this broadcast?
Correct. So we've been tracking through the podcast how far down it's gone. I'm down to the final. This is like the gallon Costco size. This is much bigger than a regular size bottle, and this is it. I don't know what to do after this bottle's gone. Quite frankly,
Well, I'm proud of you.
Flash is always used to explaining the size. No, this is bigger than the average one that you'd normally. It looks bigger in person. Trust me.
I swear.
The older I've gotten, the more I've realized they all fit. Don't worry.
Whoa.
Yes.
In your liquor cabinet. Come on.
And I have pre-batched another one of my margaritas. I've been on a margarita kick since I've been working from home. So yeah,
Fantastic.
so I've still got, this is the last of the mix. I just pre-batched a whole bunch of it here, and I'll be drinking that today.
Right on.
Wow. You are hardcore into the margaritas these days.
Oh man, they're so tasty. That's like, it's become my beverage of quarantine choice.
Fair enough.
So real question, when you're Christina Maleko does the morning show news every day. He's got a real, day job, TV anchor job. How many margaritas are you drinking on TV these days, Maleko? Off the air, but
No way. No, in fact, I do drink a lot of coffee. Like I will drink 10 cups of coffee before noon. So that's my go-to.
Well, yeah. The part he left out, Christina, is he wakes up at like 1:30 or 2 in the morning.
Everybody froze on me.
Oh, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah. Maleko, only you froze because your personality is like watching paint dry. There you go. You're back. And you're back. Okay, so
Sorry, guys, I lost you for a second. Are you still there?
we're still here.
Oh, you had like you had your RBF showing too.
RBF is resting bitch face. You can say resting
Yeah.
bitch face. There you go.
You know what? Yeah, I'm trying to watch my my potty mouth a little bit. So you told me to keep it
Ooh.
PG-13, so I'm trying to keep track of the amount of times I swear.
I mean, resting bitch face, that's fine. That's acceptable. Okay, so let's get back to the golf thing. You are saying in Florida, somehow golf courses are deemed essential. Locally here, what they did was they shut down in Hawaii all the city parks, but all of the private golf courses were left open. So is that the case in Florida, or is it all golf courses?
Well, so it varies from county to county. Like I'm in Orange County right now, and the golf course that I play out of is a private club. So I think there is a little bit of a difference. It's within a gated community. I do not live in said gated community because I believe in the separation of church and state, as I like to say. So for me, I like to just come out and play golf and then go home and be home. But the Orange County had decided to allow some courses to stay open. I'm not sure what the deal is with like public courses. Some public courses closed down. I know of a number of private courses that also closed down. Our stipulations are there are no guests allowed, so it's members only for the time being. Single cart riders obviously stay 6 feet away from people at the very, very least. We've got foam, like pool noodles in the cup so that you don't have to stick your entire grubby little hand into the cup. You can pretty much just grab at it with 2 fingers. They're sanitizing all day, every day. And I'm like the crazy lady on the neighborhood street that's like shaking her fist and yelling at the kids to stay apart from each other. And by kid, I mean anywhere from 17 to 70 years old. That being said, the reality is, in Orlando, you're going to have for the the median age of the people that call Orlando home tends to be a little bit higher than, some other states like California and things like that, because a lot of people come to retire. We have snowbirds, as they're called. I don't call them that. And so a lot of these people, they just want to, like, golf is their form of exercise. And, if you have a large expanse of land and you've got 4 people out there, you're not going to be hitting your golf ball right next to each other. So there is, in theory, an argument for that. That being said, I'm still shaking my fist and yelling at everybody out here to make sure that they're staying apart.
So what happens when you get to the when you finish your hole and you move on to the next, and you've got to wait for somebody else to finish? I mean, usually there's a grouping of golfers just hanging around there as you wait for somebody to finish playing through. So what happens then? You guys separating or?
Yeah, well, a lot of us ride in carts because that is the way a lot of the time in Florida. I grew up walking, but that's not necessarily the case here as much. So you've got a lot of people that own their own golf carts. Like I own a golf cart, but I leave it at the golf club. And so.
Is your golf cart all tricked out with like big fat rims and silver spinners?
Spinners.
Nah, girl, nah. My thing is, if I'm going to be spending money on things, I'm going to be spending them on experiences and things like that. Because I'm like, as long as it goes forward, I really don't care, So, I mean, it's got like some wood paneling and stuff like that, but it's not like.
Have you ever crashed a golf cart?
Yeah, I crashed my golf cart last week because I was reversing at full speed and didn't quite gauge the curvature of the wall. So I was like, oh, look at, there are 2 stereotypes right there. Right, and it wasn't like a head-on collision. Yeah, it was last week. I mean,
it's not even like when you were 16 and it was your first, month on the course. It was literally last week. You're a pro golfer.
Yeah, I walk when I'm in tournaments. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
I did crash him when I was a kid, though, too. And I remember one time distinctly, but, I don't.
So how many times have you crashed a golf court overall?
I can recall for sure 2 times, but I'm not going to go through my memory bank and actually think about it.
You're in denial.
Fair enough.
Absolutely, I'm in denial.
Absolutely.
Hey!
Oh!
Cheers.
Do you think all the golf courses should be closed?
I think that if people are able to be smart about it and understand that they're taking the risk of whether that it means potentially contracting something or being asymptomatic and already having the virus, I'm not going to lie, I am a bit torn. Selfishly speaking, I do like that the golf course is open because it allows me to still continue to hone in on my craft. So if I'm being completely transparent, there is a part of me that does like it. And, you know, again, I'm doing everything I can to make sure we don't have two people riding in a cart together. We make sure everyone's 6 feet apart at the very least. And because it's so close to home for me, it's a tough call. Somebody needs more ice.
Yeah, wow. Maleko's really going for it there.
Making a new margarita here.
Are other pro players across the tour, does everyone have access to a course, or is there other people around the country and around the world where golf courses are closed? And if so, what are they doing to stay in golf shape if they don't have access to a course?
Well, I know that a vast majority of California, if not all of California, have shut their golf courses. I believe Illinois might have shut their golf courses, or Wisconsin. There's a number of places. I know the UK, they've shut all of their golf courses down because they're trying to do everything they can. New Zealand, which is where my boyfriend's from, and he currently lives there now, they have shut everything down. And so I know there are some girls that are, they're trying to work on their mental game. They're doing a lot of puzzles. There's, girls that are doing a lot of workouts and things like that. And then you've got friends like Tiffany Joe, she has been practicing for this very quarantine her entire life.
What does that mean?
She is just shy of comatose, like 24 hours a day.
Oh.
And she just eats snacks, watches Netflix, things like that.
Wow.
She's so
Maleko, you could be a pro athlete too.
Hey, I'm totally down. I'm totally into this.
Look at you're training right now. Yeah.
Yeah, girl, get it.
I can handle this. Don't worry, I got this. No problem. Look what I got, by the way. I braved Costco to go get the Costco tequila.
Wow.
This is my second favorite tequila, by the way.
Fantastic. Dude, people
Also,
don't realize how sneaky
larger
good
than it
Kirkland
appears.
brand is. Like I said,
so
they all fit in your liquor cabinet.
They do. They do. Now
Yes.
I'm right here.
Anyway, too many jokes there.
Too many jokes.
In theory, I saw this with some Major League Baseball players, guys that didn't have access to anything else, I guess, in their living room, setting up a hitting net with a tee and just whacking balls right into the hitting net. In theory, could you set up something like that, like those virtual golf things where you hit it into the screen?
A lot of girls actually are doing that. I know a lot of guys are doing that as well. There's a number of players who have golf simulators already that they've had, already. I do own a practice net that I have not set up quite yet, but I do have it at the ready if I need to. But I'm not gonna lie. I know of a few girls that are just like, I have not taken my golf clubs out of the carry case, and said carry case is still in the trunk of my car. So they haven't even put the effort in to remove that from the back of their car.
And that's a lot of work. So,
No, it just shows their dedication to enjoying this downtime away from the game. So to each their own.
I mean, maybe that's good, right?
You talked earlier about separation of church and state, where your job is to golf. For you, what's relaxation time? Do you go home and play with your Nintendo Switch, or what are you doing when you're not golfing, if that's not for fun?
Well, so while I'm here in this downtime, I'm actually out playing with a bunch of my friends. We always we set up little games and things like that, and just Venmo each other the money once the matches are over and things like that. But this might sound kind of, I don't know. I mean, it's going to sound like it's however you're going to interpret it. But I mean, I'm at the golf course from like 9 o'clock in the morning until like 7:30 at night. And, you know, whether I pack a lunch or go out and, you know, get something takeaway or something like that, I just love golf that much. I mean, I'm definitely a golf nerd. But the other day I did swing by a Michael's and I picked up 5 canvases and a bunch of different acrylic paints. And because last year I got introduced to the concept of paint and sip, where you can go to like a painting studio and there'll be an instructor and you'll be able to do all of these like beautiful, elaborate like landscapes and, you know, these amazing like sunrise, sunset, you know, moon, stars, all that stuff that you basically just follow along with the instructor while you sit there, and whether it's BYOB or they have a bar at some locations anyway. And so I decided to go and do that. And I'm debating whether I'm going to try and do 1 or 2 of them without an instructor and just see what my brain comes up with. But knowing me, I'm going to be very disappointed with the end result.
You know,
It'll just be like a stick figure.
Maleko and I do that all the time. We just leave the painting part out of it.
Yeah.
It's just drinking, period. Art.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. That looks beautiful.
I'll do the paint, you do the sip then. That's perfect.
Works out for me.
But other than that, I love to read. I'm not going to lie. I have been home because I had some time over on the West Coast, you know, back where, you know, not far from where I grew up. I was over in the Pebble Beach area, played Cypress Point for the first time ever. And so I've been home for, I think, 3 weeks now. And I have yet to turn on my television or watch any Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, anything.
So you're not familiar with the lion, with the Tiger
King?
I'm not going to lie. So I'm also really into podcasts. And there was a podcast. Obviously, I'm into podcasts since, you know, here we are. I actually listened to a podcast.
No, this doesn't mean anything. This is no one listens to this podcast.
Oh, stop. But I listened to a podcast called Over My Dead Body, and season 2 actually covered Joe Exotic. So I actually knew everything about the whole storyline of what happened with him, with Carol, you know, how she, I mean, I don't know if she fed her husband to the kitty cats, but, you know, I think a lot of people have watched it, but I don't necessarily know if people actually think about all of the ramifications that have been taking place to the animals with all of the abuse, because it's so ostentatious, because Joe is so, I mean, that mullet, it's a look, it's a choice. And
hey, well, you're in Florida. I mean, you're in Florida a lot, so
there's a lot of Florida mans here. There's a lot of Florida mans here. No, not where I am. I mean, you know, I'm a classy bitch, obviously.
Maleko, have you seen the show? Because I haven't watched it yet.
Oh yeah, we saw the show. We're about ready to start it again because it's very short. It's only like 6 or 7 episodes, but it's very bingeable. And you know, we were reluctant to watch it at first because it just seemed like the kind of show that we're not into. You know, like we don't really like reality TV. We didn't see Love Is Blind. We don't ever watch, you know, The Bachelor or Survival. That's just not our thing. But this one got so much hype, and I was talking about it in news stories. I'm like, okay, I have to see what this is about. I was into the show for 10 minutes, and I could not stop watching. The characters are incredibly wild. The story is so out
they're
of
not
this
even
world.
Characters. You can't even call them characters. These are just them in their personality. To call them characters would almost make you think, oh, maybe this is scripted or this or that. No, these are people living their lives. It is ridiculous, because I listened to a fair bit of the audio that I'm assuming was on the show as well. And yeah, you just sit there and you're like, if people from outside the U.S. see this, like, he's not doing our country a great service. Like,
No.
if he's running for president, and then you look at who did end up winning president a few years back, it's a little bit of a rough time.
That's crazy.
Supposedly,
you didn't see the show. He did.
I haven't seen it.
He ran for president.
I heard. I'm like you. I'm doing stories on this guy almost every day on my radio show, and so it's like at some point, it's like I'm the sheer weight of all the information and the memes coming at me. I'm like, I at some point I'm going to cave. I'm not a huge reality guy either.
It's a quick
but I am
show.
going to watch this. But
Yeah.
story came out yesterday. A new Joe Exotic show is going to come out on an Investigation Discovery or some other TV network.
Oh, on ID, yes.
ID,
What was it? Jeff Lowe or whoever that guy is, the guy who produced it or something like that. I wasn't sure if it was a whole new series or if it was just one episode that was going to air. I'm not sure, but
it sounded like a series, but it would be like I don't know, like a follow-up or continuation on things. Yeah.
Dude, ID is a channel for that, man. We turned to ID when we just want some brainless television. That app they've got body cam. They got like 3 different body cam shows. They've got court cam, where the craziest stuff in the world happens in court. They got all the police camera shows, all these murder investigative shows. That's the kind of stuff that we like that investigative stuff. That's a great channel.
Yep, that's America in a nutshell.
Someone's been self-quarantining way too much. I'm watching body cam shows, guys. They're so good.
Dude, body cam is seriously my secret. What do you call that when it's your
guilty
secret?
Pleasure?
Guilty pleasure.
That's totally my guilty pleasure. Now I've confessed to the world.
Christina, besides obviously the course that is your home course, what are some of your favorite courses or your favorite course to play in Hawaii?
In Hawaii, I am a huge fan of Kapalua over in the island of Maui. I love playing. I actually really enjoy going over to Ko'olina. I do like the west side of the island. I think it's very, very pretty. West side. What's the name of that place? There's this unbelievable jerky place is it Waianae? Is it like DJ's Jerky or something? It's some of the most unbelievable jerky. It's like the jerky is like paper thin and it's just the most flavor packed. PJs maybe? I'm not sure, but it is unbelievable. Oh, you gotta go. Like you gotta go. Tim Hazelgrove, he'll tell you about it. I think is it PJs maybe or DJs? I'm not sure.
But on the west side.
On the west side.
Smoked meats? Something? DJ smoked meats or something?
No, it's basically they just do jerky. Like it's like the thinnest sliced jerky you'll ever come across. It's not chewy or anything like that. Like it's the thinnest, most flavorful jerky I've ever had. And I remember when I left Hawaii last year, I left with I think 9 big ass bags of like 4 or 5 different flavors.
It's
DJ. Yeah, it is DJ. I had it right the first time. Yes, you gotta go. You gotta go.
Shout out to DJs. Gonna go check this out.
You got it.
It's one of Yelp's top 10 beef jerky places in Hawaii. Take that for whatever
in
that
the country, I would say. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know of a lot of other places that specialize in jerky, but it is like I'm salivating just thinking about it. And now I realize I'm not going to be coming to Hawaii to be able to eat that. I'm really sad now.
It's on Farrington
Reality
Highway.
Just hit. So let me ask you about that then. I mean, up until a month ago, your whole life revolved around tours, revolved around your next game, your next travel arrangement, your next course. Your life has to be completely different, like vastly different than it's been maybe for the past 15, 20 years?
It is and it isn't, because I'm basically like, if you're not playing on tour, so we basically like our off season is in essence from Thanksgiving till just after the Super Bowl, basically. So in that downtime, you're resting up, you're working out, you're catching up on shows if that's what you want to do, you're cooking, you're out there, and then you start practicing and playing to prepare yourself for the next season. So, whether it's goal setting and then, working with your coach on certain techniques, or just going out there and just getting a ton of reps in because you've been lazy during the winter time and need to get the reps in, because I know a lot of players that do that. So in essence, we're kind of entering like a second off season. And the only thing is I'm now in Florida in a period of time when I normally am not. So dealing with this like 90% humidity has been wreaking havoc on my makeup skills, my eyebrows. Like these. I mean, obviously first world problems, but it's a little bit eerie because you don't see nearly as many people out on the streets, out on the golf course. As like anytime I see a body, like whether they're walking around the neighborhood or even if I'm driving down the road or something like that, I'm like waving maniacally and smiling because I'm like, they do exist. Humans do still exist in this sort of bizarro world that we're in. So it is definitely different, but it's not too far away from things you do during your off season. And there are plenty of girls that are definitely treating this like an off season, and a lot of times are, like I said, not even touching their clubs. Whereas I have the ability to play golf, and I have the ability to look at it as, if I want to take a day off, shit, I'll take a day off. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm happy to train 5-6 days a week, go out there playing 36, 45, 54 holes, what have you, and try and utilize this time. Girl, we got carts. Like, it ain't no thing, trust me. It ain't no
54.
thing.
54. My God. No wonder you're
That
there.
That does sound excessive. That does,
14
even
plus
for a
hours.
professional. That's
okay. Then how about you just have 5 drinks a night then? Okay, then that's basically like that. My love for golf is where your love for drinks are. That's how we can relate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally. I get it.
So you're calling us athletes.
Absolutely. Look at you guys. You guys are the epitome of athleticism.
So
Champions.
let's say everything gets better tomorrow. Like tomorrow, coast
it's not
is
going
clear.
to. No, let's say in a month. Let's say in a month the curve flattens, because that's very unlikely. But it's something that might maybe happen.
But for the purposes of my question, that part's irrelevant. Let's say in a month the coast is clear, and 100% it's safe. How long from the coast is clear till the LPGA gets back on tour? What's the lag time there?
I'm not going to lie. I don't know exactly. I think the LPGA has done a great job of keeping in touch with the CDC and maintaining, information from the World Health Organization and things like that. So it wouldn't be on us as players. We wouldn't be able to make that determination. It would be on our staff, our commissioner, Mike Wan, and, all of the people that he has on, various task forces that he has created. So it would be on them. But I mean, if it flattens next month, let's say, so May, I mean, as of right now, we're supposed to be starting our season again in the middle of June, as of right now. Whether or not that happens, none of us know, because everything is dictated entirely on how the curve starts to flatten, when it finally starts to drop again, when we feel like it's safe to actually have people go about their daily lives and things like that. So as of right now, we're supposed to be starting in Arkansas at the home of Walmart in Rogers, Arkansas, for the Northwest Arkansas Championship presented by P&G, the Walmart Championship, excuse me. But again, it was just like we were supposed to start in Hawaii, at the Lotte. Those got canceled.
Well, let me ask you this then. They were talking this morning that even if, we start to flatten the curve and we start to see the coronavirus being less deadly in certain parts of the country, particularly the hardest hit areas, they're talking that a vaccine could be 18 months away, which means that before people can go to concerts, before you feel good about going on a plane, before you feel good about hanging out in large crowds, you're looking at 18 months. That's a year and a half from now. So even if we start to get back to work, we're going to be wearing masks. We're still going to be worrying about washing your hands and gloves and not hanging out in big crowds of people, because there's no cure, there's no vaccine. So that being said, okay, I get it. Football games, not going to happen for a long time. That's a stadium that's large crowds. Basketball games, same deal. Golf, on the other hand, you're still playing golf. So golf is already doable. The only thing you'd be missing would be the audience, the crowd, in which case golf is the kind of thing most people would watch on television anyway. So why can't golfers just start up the tour again? What's stopping you?
I think the public perception of golfers being so elitist and so insensitive to the things that are taking place, that, you know, we're in a situation where there's so many, I mean, tens and hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people that are filing for unemployment and things like that. And for us, you know, again, golf is my life. It's been my life for a very long time, and I love it more than pretty much breathing. But I think it would be highly insensitive if we continue to go about our normal lives when you've got so many people that are suffering. They're not sure if they're going to be able to, you know, pay rent. They're not sure if they're going to be able to feed their kids next week. I think that you know, the organizations that are associated with professional golf have a lot of compassion, and we raise so much money for charity. So to an extent, by not having these tournaments, where some of the charities are also suffering, because the PGA Tour, they raise millions of dollars every year for various charities in the places that they're in. But again, at the same time, it's not like we're playing professional golf tournaments at one golf course. We are going, in theory, we're supposed to be going from Arkansas to Michigan to Philadelphia to, you know, places. So that would require travel as well. Yes,
Right.
There's any number of factors. But for me, first and foremost, is I would not feel comfortable going out and playing golf for these purses that we're supposed to be playing for, knowing that there are people out there that are not sure if they're going to have a roof over their heads tomorrow. I don't think that's necessarily the right thing to do. Although at the same time, sports really can unite people. Like, you know, after the Twin Towers fell for 9/11, and, you know, the Yankees had their, you know, the baseball game where President Bush threw out the first pitch, like that was, you know, I mean, I still get chills just thinking about that, just the ability to bring a sense of unity to people through sports in a time of tragedy. But we have to be smart about it. And, you know, I also personally would not want to play in a golf tournament without my fans. I think that that's part of the overall experience of it. You get to interact with your fans. The fans get to interact with the professionals. They get to, you know, be out there, be able to watch things like that. And there's an energy that you feel even when you're not playing, when you're, you know, prior to playing, after you're playing, there's this energy and this heartbeat on the golf course that you can feel that connects everybody together. And if we were to miss that, it would feel so sterile, and, you know, it would be very, very strange, you know, and who knows, we may have to actually end up doing that, you know, whether if we do end up seeing, you know, a dramatic decrease in the curve and things like that, that we may have to do that. And if that does happen, I'm going to have to find a way to adapt. But, you know, in a perfect world, you know, I mean, in a perfect world, we'd go back, you know, to, 2017, when Obama's task force was actually talking about the fact that there is a global pandemic, and then not have it be disbanded.
Damn, that got political real quick.
No, it's not
How do
even
you
about
really
politics.
feel?
This is about human life. I don't care. It's just, these are facts that happened. It's neither right nor left. It's just a reality. This is a series of events that took place. So, you know, if we were, you know, if the roles were reversed, and, you know, that guy had the task force, and then Obama became president, and then Obama disbanded that, I would be just as critical, because this does not matter about party. This does not matter about, you know, right or left or any of that crap. This is about human lives, first and foremost. And we need to find a way to, first of all, have been able to prevent this. And there are numerous instances that are coming out in terms of instances where things could have been made differently, decisions could have been made differently, let alone the hydroxychloroquine or whatever the hell that is. Like, you know, I mean, there are so many things. It's not, for me, it's not about politics. Like, I'm a human being. I care about human beings. I'm empathetic towards people. And if there is something that is not proven, I don't believe in going on national television, international television, and say, what have you got to lose? You know, other than your life, other than your heartbeat. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care who you are. You know, the role of someone in a position of power, and we're supposed to be the most important, you know, not most important, but the most powerful country in the world. We're supposed to lead by example. And that should be, listen to the people that are experts within the field in which we're talking, you know? So, like, Dr. Fauci, I mean, I have, like, the biggest lady boner for him. Like, he is just, there's something about him that's just so remarkable. He's incredible. Like, he is so engaging. He can captivate an audience. You sit there, like, no matter what he says, you feel like obviously you can trust him because he's been through, so many administrations already, but he has this calmness about him that provides you with a sense of, okay, I'm able to understand this because I'm not just getting squawked at. I don't know. Ain't politics, though.
Sounds like you do know.
Outspoken. You're so outspoken. You've got such a real personality about you.
Thank you.
For one of the things that I've always thought about golf is, I don't really ever get to meet the the golfers. You know who they are just because they're on the course, but you don't actually get to engage with them. It's not like basketball players that have these massive personalities. Most of the time golfers are pretty demure. You're not that. You're kind of outgoing for your sport. That would lead me to believe that you might have other abilities. Like, can you act? Are you working on an album? I mean, you got to be working on something else. You got a lot going on.
When's the surprise album drop?
It'll be the Chronicles of cat screeching or something. No, I'm not gonna lie. If I could give up almost anything in life, it would be to trade it in for the ability to sing. I would love to sing. I cannot hold a note to save my life. And I'm the kind of person that thinks, oh, if I want to make it sound better, I just have to be louder. And it's
preaching to the choir, sister.
It's a bad scene. But no,
have you been approached by any of the TV networks about when the time comes being a golf commentator? It seems like you would be perfect for that.
I have had a couple of instances where I've been approached about the prospect of it, but a tiny small part of me gets a little offended because I'm like, well, you know what? Yeah, I'm entering my 19th season on tour. I turned pro when I was 18 years old, did not, decided to forego college because I'm still smart. And yet I feel like I'm in the middle of my career. There's no reason why I can't go out there and I can't still compete. There's no reason why I can't still win. I am a winner. I have won multiple times on tour. I've represented this beautiful nation that we live in 3 times, 3-0 in singles, holla. And I don't think that the number of years you've been around, yes, to a certain extent can have physical, not consequences, but you get old, shit starts hurting, whatever. But at the same time, you have the experiences, you have a broader sense of self. You understand your score does not equate whether or not you're a good person or a bad person. So I think that there's a lot to be said about having experiences. And then also, I've been told from a very dear friend of mine who is a golf course architect. He also hosts his own podcast, or he does a podcast with some other folks, that I would be a waste on network television. So unless someone like HBO is willing to do some sort of like primetime late night golf commentary, might be tough, because there's a certain amount of vibrance and color that I don't believe I would be able to share if I were to take that on. But then again, I don't see myself venturing into that kind of world for 15 years.
But you did write a book, though. You wrote an autobiography in 2010. Now granted, you are golfing every day, but you're not on tour. Is another book in the near future?
I'm not going to lie. I don't think there's any need for a book when all you have to do to figure out what's going on in my life and what's going on in my brain and what's going on in my heart is just to look at my Twitter feed. Like, realistically, I'm an open book. I don't feel like, I used to run a blog back in the day, long time ago, but I don't see another book in the works. Definitely no album. I did, although a little while ago, not during this crisis in which we're in, but a while ago, I did have a period of time where I was going to do a sociological experiment, because a lot of people have told me, oh, Christina, you're funny as shit. And I don't necessarily believe them, because I feel like a lot of times I'll crack jokes and it's like crickets, but then I'll do something in real life and people laugh at me, and I'm like, no, that's not necessarily the same as being funny versus when people laugh at you. So for me, there you go. See, I'm being honest, ain't no joke. But I thought there was a period of time where I was like, you know what, especially when I'm going to these like small cities, I could go on a sort of a sociological experiment where I'll come up with a stand-up routine, and then I'll go out there, do an open mic, dressed as I am, you know, lady parts and all, whatever. And then I would go to another city, or I would go to the same club on, you know, another night of the week, and then like, you know, strap the girls down, give myself a beer gut, put on some like fake facial hair, things like that, and try and, you know, crack the same jokes as a man and see what the reception would be like.
You know, that's the thing with comedy though, is comedy isn't about writing a joke and a punchline. It's like the best comedians are the ones who just come up there and act like they're telling their life story. It just happens to be really funny. I think you've got that flow. I think you've got that ability to tell a story. You just probably need to have somebody to help you write the story.
But it's kind of sad when
Maleko, are you pitching your services here?
No, I'm not funny. I like to laugh at Flash a lot. Flash is funny looking, so it works out.
I was just looking at her Twitter. She's got 65,000 followers. She's at the Christina Kim on Twitter, and I can see here that you're very interactive on Twitter with people. Do you ever get in trouble on Twitter because of that?
I think back in my like younger rebellious days, I would have no problem going toe to toe with whomever I want. These days, one, I don't feel like I do things that are really that controversial. Not that I did anything back in the day when I was controversial. Like, I don't know. It was just, I feel like I don't think I'm important enough for the trolls to be willing to like say crap to me, I guess. They're far more focused on people that are like, I don't know, real people or something like that. I don't know. But I like to come into a conversation with kindness and gratitude and, you know, an open heart. And so a lot of times, you know, even if someone were to say something to me that I would, you know, sort of question their intentions, or, you know, be like, I don't know if I maybe had read this with a tone different from what you had intended. You know, a lot of times it's just like, we just, you know, we break down the barriers and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I'll get into some conflict every now and again, but I, you know, always try my best to, you know, I don't know. Worst case scenario, I had something happen a couple of months ago that was maybe a little on the controversial side. And, you know, there were some people that, a lot of people were with me, and then there were some people that weren't with me. And the ones that weren't with me that I would like respond to and be like, I'm just trying to explain the situation. These are the series of events that took place. That's all I'm going to share. And then they'd be like, and I'm like, dude, you got to understand, 90% of the time I'm laying in bed when I'm responding to you. And a good chance is that the other 10% of the time when I'm responding, I'm taking a poop. Like, you're not having an impact on my life, you know? Like, there's no reason to have anything but passion, compassion, empathy, joy, things like that in life, you know? Like, just the world is amazing, and you can find awe in anything that you look at if you just look at it in a certain way. So, but sometimes I also just have fun, you know, just messing with people, and I'll just be like, yeah, you know, there's a bear, let's go poke, poke, poke.
So the LPGA has never told you to back off on your Twitter?
No, actually, that's one great thing about Mike. Like, there are so many wonderful things about our commissioner, Mike Wan. Like, no joke, he is the hardest working, most driven man. He is one of the staunchest feminists I've ever come across. To, you know, interpret that however you want to, but he is just so unbelievable when it comes to the fact that he wants the women to get elevated to a point that he believes that they are worthy of. But one thing that is so great about him is he's like, you know what? Actually, no. So he's never actually said you need to scale it back. But there was one time where I got a phone call from him, and he was like, all I'm going to say is I'm not your dad. And so that was enough for me to be like, shit. No, you're not my dad, but this feels just as bad. So he's great in that sense, because he's like, you know what, you have an opinion, you have a voice, you have a platform. you should be able to utilize said platform to get your voice out, you know, and voice your opinion. But if
What was
you
it
know,
he called you about?
This was actually no. This wasn't even about Twitter. This wasn't about Twitter. Several years ago, I think it might have been 2009, no, 2010, if I'm not mistaken. We were actually in Arkansas at the tournament that, you know, we're supposed to be starting our season up with again. And Michelle Wee, you know, Hawaiian native, went to Stanford over near in NorCal where I'm from. Like we were fast friends. Like I became buddies with her even though I was 5 years older than her. You know, basically my rookie year was the year that she splashed out on the scene. And so
she likes to rage. Yeah, she's a party animal.
She is a very impressive because she will drink almost anybody under the table. Not me, but like when it's time to go bye-bye, it's just like just gone. But she finished runner-up at a tournament. Yeah, maybe it was, I'm not exactly sure the year of it. She finished runner-up in a tournament. We had all gone to, we were all staying at the host hotel, and, you know, down the road from there was a really nice steakhouse. And so we said, dude, let's celebrate. Let's, you know, have some steak. Let's grab some drinks, this, that, whatever. Let's have some fun. And Suzanne Pedersen, who is a Nike athlete as well, she came with us. And, you know, we had like 6 people maybe or something like that. And, you know, the tournament was over. So for us, our Friday nights are Sunday nights because tournaments end on Sunday. And then that's, if you want to go and rage, that's where you go and rage. I'm not going to lie, at times, certain parts of Arkansas, it can be a little difficult to rage because we weren't, you know, we were adjacent to the college town, but we weren't in the college town. And so we figured, you know, this beautiful steakhouse would be a wonderful place in which we can thusly rage. And we were placed at a table. Right behind us was a wall of wine bottles, and all of the bottles of wine were facing away from us. So in theory, we had a wall full of tiny little megaphones. So apparently we were causing enough of a ruckus that people thought that we were being a little too loud. We were, you know, making rap songs about butter on our purses and things like that. You must have been there to actually like enjoy it. And so apparently there was a letter written from the GM to someone that was then passed on to Mike Wan. But at the time they didn't say anything to us, because if they said, yo, you gotta tone it down, we would have been like, oh, you know, I'm sorry, like you put us behind all these megaphones, so we didn't realize how amplified our voices were. And so that was when he told me he wasn't my dad.
That's not bad at all. I think we were both
it's not bad.
Something a lot more, you know, Joe Exotic.
Oh yeah, girl, we ain't sharing any of them stories, okay? I'm a vault. You said keep this PG-13, so we keeping it PG-13, girl.
Anyways, is
that on you?
Anyways, always.
Anyway, there's no S. You don't need to use the S in any way. Just say anyway.
Anyway.
Sorry. Thank you. There you go.
Absolutely. That's the word. I couldn't think of the word.
There you go.
I was trying to say absolutely. I was saying anyway.
Can you stop saying that word?
So
I have yet to say it.
Without naming names, has anyone you known playing around in a tournament that was, let's say, tipsy?
I'm not going to lie. There are stories and rumors that this might have happened like way back in the day, but I don't believe I've ever witnessed anyone actively drunk on the golf course in a tournament. I have seen people hungover as shit on the golf course. I have been that person that was hungover as shit on the golf course. But I don't
during a tournament
version. What's the LPGA version of John Daly?
I think that it's a debatable answer, but most people would probably say Jackie Concolino. Her nickname is I think it's in parentheses is the word the, and then it's just capital hammer because it's a noun and a verb. Excuse me, it's a noun and a state of mind.
I'm gonna look her up right now.
Jacqui and then Concolino. Oh, way to go, me! I could spell.
There are stories about John Daly, right? That's how I say his last name, right? I'm saying it right.
Yeah.
There are stories about him drinking like 5 beers in one turn. Like you just happen to be waiting, he just tanked 5 of them before he got to his. Is that? I mean, have you heard stuff like this? Does this happen?
I think it requires a unique type of person with a unique type of personality, with a unique need for certain things in their life to make that happen. I don't know of that honestly happening on our tour. That'd be impressive. I just had like my worst experience of being hungover at a golf tournament. We were in Sicily, and on the Tuesday, which was the tournament started on Thursday. On that Tuesday, I went out and had like 3 bottles of wine to myself. It was like some like local Sicilian wine or something like that, and woke up with a hangover that I carried with me for 3 days, and then ended up winning that tournament. And I am determined it was the amount of tannins, because since my boyfriend's from New Zealand, he has introduced me to a lot of beautiful, like world-renowned, like Pinot Noirs and Sauvignon Blancs, which are, you know, much more on the lighter side. You have them with lighter fare and things like that. And these are just some like, you know, like Montepulciano and these amazing, you know, just robust, complex, incredible, like thick as blood wines that, you know, went down way too easily. And so I sit there and I say, it's got to be the tannins. There were so many tannins in there. And he was like, no, I'm pretty sure it's less the tannins. It's the sheer amount of wine that you drank, because that 3rd bottle of wine rolled out of your hand and rolled across the floor as you passed out in bed. And I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of tannins in 3 bottles of wine. So I'm not wrong.
Is golf one of those, a sport? It's so much of a mental game. Is there times that you think actually being hungover helps get you out of your own head, and maybe then just allows you to hit the course without really thinking, where it could actually be some sort of, I don't want to say an advantage, but maybe potentially help on the mental side?
I don't know, to be honest. It did help me that one week, because it was a very complicated golf course that we were playing. Like, we were literally on the side of Mount Etna, which is an active volcano. And so there was volcanic rock in the fairways, in the rough, things like that. And we were winding up and down and back this mountain. It was so cool. It was so cool. But it was very complex and intricate. But in that one instance, I would say, yes, it did help. But, you know, for the most part, you know, once I did start becoming hungover after drinking, which was a horrible period of life when you found out you can't just bounce back anymore. No,
what's that like, Flash? Tell us.
Yeah, we don't know what you're talking about.
Story time.
Because you guys are constantly pickled? Is that what it is? Just the dare of the hog every single day?
No.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think you absolutely know what I'm talking about. There you go.
Why do you think we buy tequila in bottles this big?
Christina, you
Because
do realize
your liquor cabinet.
The whole podcast is just an excuse for us to drink with people. You do realize that, right?
I think that you guys are doing a wonderful service to your audience to provide them with a relaxing ability or a relaxing environment, and letting them know that there is an opportunity to just chill down and relax.
Just chill down and relax, man.
Just chill down and relax.
Chill out. My bad. I'm sorry. Chill down. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
Speaking of chilling out. Hey,
absolutely.
Of chilling out, the opposite of that would be Tim Hazelgrove, Oahu Golf Apparel. Look at the face that was Maleko was frozen on. So you're a brand ambassador for Oahu Golf Apparel. And fun fact, I don't know if Maleko knew this or not, but you know Tim, he's got the crazy mohawk, right?
Mm-hmm.
do you know that the inspiration, and I don't know if Maleko knows this, the inspiration for Tim's Mohawk is he saw Maleko with the Mohawk, and this was 15 plus years ago. He sees Maleko with the Mohawk, I think at the Wave, which is this old nightclub I used to work at. And he liked Maleko's Mohawk so much that then Tim started growing his own Mohawk. And Tim apparently, you know, last of the Mohicans, is the only guy still rocking the Mohawk.
Last
Maleko,
of the
did you know that?
Mohawkins.
He does.
Yeah, last of the Mohawkins. Did you know that, Maleko?
I did, yeah. In fact, he told me, I remember the conversation with him. I only had a Mohawk for maybe, I don't know, less than a year. It was just a thing.
It was that one time period. We all had it, yeah.
Right. But it was a beautiful Mohawk. I was dating a girl who was a hairstylist, so she's the one that set me up with it. So I would lay my head on the ironing board and I would iron
Whoa.
this perfect shark fin.
That's incredible.
It was amazing.
Wow.
And you know, the secret is, and I'll tell you because I know you really want to know, is
Elmer's glue.
gelatin. You know, the baker's gelatin, not Jello, but like there's a non-flavored Jello.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so you buy
Do you
that.
do
Paint that
is
on.
it egg whites in there too?
No, well, whatever's in the gelatin, you know. So you make that.
You mean the gelatin? That's in the gelatin.
hair gel.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I had it one night. And he did not stop touching it and talking to me about it. He's like, I love this. I love your Mohawk. Oh my God, I gotta have one. And then like the next time I saw him, he had one. And so we both like, it's like, this is awesome.
That is amazing. I did not know that story.
I didn't know that story until
That's better.
yesterday.
I love it. I love it. That is so great. That's actually how Tim and I met. I was at the Lotte tournament. Yeah. I was at the tournament over at Coalina over on the west side. And I was practicing before my round. I think it was before my third round out of 4. And I just sort of like saw out of the corner of my eye this beautiful, unbelievable, just like this, like, you know, it was like a ray of sunshine. And I just looked over and I was like, there's a Mohawk on the golf course. Holy shit. So I walked over to him and I was like, because I mean, bad girl at heart. I love a bad boy. Love a bad boy. Very punk rock. Like, I just
all
love,
girls
you know,
do.
like, oh, no, but like, you know,
Girls
just
do.
like anti-establishment. Like, I love all that shit. And so I just like looked over and I walked over to him and I was like, yo, I love your hair. That's all I said to him. No idea who this guy was. Like, I was just like, you know, just a guy who came to a golf tournament. I just wanted to let him know I love your hair. And it was so sweet. He was so humble about it. He was just like, oh, thank you so much. That means so much to me, you know? And I'm just like, I could not, like, that was all I could muster. Like, it's just, I love your hair. And he told me, he said, you know, this is going back a number of years. He said, you know, I'm starting a clothing line and I'm making t-shirts and hats. Like, I've got trucker hats on. And so, you know, and I was just like, dude with the Mohawk is making hats. Okay. And so he was like, would you mind if I, you know, gave you a couple, you know? And I'm like, yeah, dude, that would be awesome. You know, he was like, do you want them now or do you want them in your locker? And I was like, dude, I got to prepare for my round. So if you could toss them in my locker, that'd be amazing. You know, like just make sure to let me know who I need to tag on social media and all that stuff, whatever. And, you know, so he left me a ton of hats and a ton of shirts at the golf course in my locker. And I was like, this stuff is amazing. Like, it's just so fun and so vibrant and all of these wonderful patterns and things like that. And so I contacted him and I was like, dude, this stuff is amazing. Like, I absolutely love it. Like, was wearing the hat, you know, had the t-shirt on and everything. I was like, this stuff is just so cool. And he had told me that, you know, the company was started, you know, to, you know, just sort of help, you know, like just kids realize that golf could be fun because he was, you know, a former professional golfer himself. And there are, you know, so many opportunities available to kids just in general, regardless of where you are. But sometimes, you know, island life can, you know, you can sometimes get into lulled into a sense of, you know, just living on the island and things like that. And sometimes, you know, if you've got one friend that might be, you know, hanging out doing some things that they don't need to be doing, like, you know, kids are impressionable, so it's easy to get involved and wrapped up in things that may not necessarily be the best choices in a young person's life. And he was like, and I just want to try and get kids involved in golf and get them to understand that golf can be cool and you can be cool doing golf. And I'm like, well, yeah, good, you got the mold. And so I just love that, you know. And he's, you know, he was like, as a new father, you know, I just want to make sure that I'm able to provide my daughter with the idea that golf is cool, and, you know, girls can play golf and girls can be cool as shit playing golf. And I was just like, dude, this is just unbelievable. Like, I absolutely fell in love with the brand as soon as he showed me the hats and the shirts, and then it was just like, I'm all in as soon as he was telling me his story. And I was like, this is just remarkable. And he's, you know, I mean, it's like anytime that I'm just like, hey, yo, you know, just talking to this kid who, you know, was like, dude, I think your hat's really cool. And then I'm like, oh, well, you know, follow me on Instagram or whatever. And then I send it to Tim. He's like, dude, this kid thinks your hat's really, really cool. And he's like, boom, sent it out. Gave the kid a care package. Like, it's just, he is so happy to just give. And I think that it's so wonderful, especially in, you know, in this day and age where, you know, it's not a criticism or anything like that, but a lot of times it's very easy to fall into the world of me, myself, and I, and what can you do for me? And so I think that, you know, he is so happy to help other people, and he gets such gratification and such a sense of fulfillment by helping other people, that he's one of those, you know, rare shining stars in my world. And he's just going to be a lifelong friend.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. You're wearing his shirt, by the way, too, right?
Absolutely. This is part of the new batch of shirts that came out. Sorry?
Yeah. That's one of the new batches. That's one of my favorite.
Yeah. Flash, you got one.
Yeah,
Yep.
Flash is wearing one too. I'm not gonna lie, I almost wore the mint green version of your hat or of your shirt.
Oh, yeah. I like the mint green version too. Yeah. I think the mint green version of this and the one you're wearing, and then the black one that's got the flowers that are like the rainbow colors, those are my three favorites from the new
Shaved
batch.
Ice.
Is that what it's called?
Shaved Ice. Yes.
Wow. I didn't know the shirts had names.
Well, no, but just the pattern of it, you know, because it's, he was actually telling me that, you know, back in the day when he first started doing, you know, the company, that he came out with, like, you know, a rainbow shirt. Like, that's just what it was. And it was called that. And people were like, rainbow? Like, that's, nah. And so he was like, well, you know, it's a Hawaiian brand. And, you know, I want people to, you know, feel that connection with the islands and everything. So that he had the pattern, you know, the logo, and it was still in, you know, same multicolored logo, and he called it Shaved Ice, and people were like, you know, like, bruh, like, I love that.
That first shirt was gold. I got so many compliments and feedback on that first shirt. It was so over the top, exactly like him.
But it's subtle too at the same time, you know, like,
oh yeah, it's totally subtle.
And you know what? I realized it's not what you wear, it's how you wear it.
That's right. Yeah. There's nothing about Tim that's subtle, that's for sure.
True story.
He told me he used to have an 18-inch mohawk, and he's toned it down to like 8 or 9 inches.
That's what Flash
Well,
tells
it's not the size that counts, Christina.
No,
you know,
they all fit in your liquor cabinet. It's fine.
They all fit in the liquor cabinet.
all
In the
fit.
liquor cabinet. All the liquor cabinet. All right, Christina, before we wrap up, who were some of your current favorite golfers, guy or girl?
Oh.
Nobody. Okay.
No. I would say Max Homa. He is a California native as well, although he's from the South Side down in LA, so he's from the wrong side of the state, but that's okay. He's super funny, very intelligent, just got married, has an amazing dog, and he's such a great follow on social media. Like, he is hysterical, and he's so witty. He's one of my favorites, and plus he's just cool as shit. Let me think. Obviously, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm always going to be a fan of the golf that Tiger Woods played and is able to still bring, and the way he's transformed the entire sport, I think, is just remarkable. And then, like, growing up, like, these girls they're still my girls. Like, Meg Mallon, Beth Daniel, they were, when I was a rookie on tour, they really took me under their wing and really shaped me into being the person and the professional and the woman that I am now. And I know I'm forgetting, like, you know, any of my friends, but I'm just going to leave it there.
Would you say inside of the world of professional golf that people are rooting for Tiger, or people are over Tiger?
You know, I think if you have any sense of appreciation for the sport and you can separate the sport from you can separate the athlete from the human, which some people, a lot of people do, especially people that are fans of football. Not going to name names.
Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis,
I'm not going to go there. I'm not going over there. The Niners should have won that year, and they didn't. And so since then, I've given up on all things football except for Aaron Rodgers. And so I think some people, if they're able to separate the athlete from the human, there's no plausible reason that would have any sense as to why you would not want to root for Tiger, because he defined a generation. He defined more than a generation. He transformed the sport into what it is today. And so, you know, if you don't root for Tiger, I think there's got to be something up with you, just strictly as a fan of the sport, and not having to think about, you know, personal things and things like that. That being said, it's really hard to do that, but in terms of what he did for the sport, you can't deny what he did.
Yeah. Listen, I love Billie Jean. Thriller is one of the greatest albums of all time. I love Michael Jackson, the artist.
Wow.
That's not the same, but I don't know. It's been great, you guys. Thanks. You want to know something funny? Because I love to listen to music when I'm on the golf course. In the last, like, 5 to 7 years, anytime an MJ song comes on, I get so mad and I play like crap. So I've had to delete every MJ song from my playlist that I use on the golf course. There's something in, like, just internally that I can't seem to turn off. But if I'm off the golf course, I can sit there and you know, I mean, his dancing styles and everything that he was able to do with his voice, and, you know, the fact that he could move as well as he could and sing at the same time is so infuriating, because I can dance okay as long as it's not choreographed, and I can't sing even when I'm just standing still trying to sing. So to be able to combine those two things is genuinely remarkable.
You know what you would be really good on is that lip sync TV show, because then you don't have to sing, but you've got the dance moves.
Yeah, and I can act. Like, I have thought about it. I'm not gonna lie.
Whoa, Maleko, you're everywhere now. What happened? No, there you are.
My internet is failing me today.
Yeah, you're all over the place. Christina, where can we follow you on all of the socials?
Oh, well, I am primarily on Twitter and Instagram, and on both platforms, I kept it very simple. I am at the Christina Kim, TheChristianakim, because when I first logged on in 2009, there were like 5,000 Christina Kims already on Twitter, so I had to differentiate myself. And I was going to do Christina Kim Golf, but you're only allowed 15 characters on Twitter, and golf pushed it to 16. Yep.
Oh, wow.
And not going to lie, I mean, 16 characters is a lot. So, so the Christina Kim sounds maybe a little pretentious, but, you know, what are you going to do? Because I couldn't be at a Christina Kim. So
no, you don't want to be a Christina Kim. You want to be the Christina Kim.
Exactly. And then I don't do the tick or the talk. I don't really do Facebook. I think that I don't know. I think that Zuckerberg sold us to Russia, but that's neither here nor there. So I'm primarily Twitter and Instagram, and I mean, I have my phone on me at all times, partly because whenever I'm not on the golf course, I'm not at my house, if I'm, whether I'm going to go and be getting groceries for my family or, going to Michael's and picking up some art supplies, like a really, really fun thing to do in order to make sure that you're not touching your face or just putting your grubby little hands on things that you don't need to be touching, is having your phone in one hand at all times. Whether you're looking at it or not is neither here nor there, but just making sure you have something in your hand and then having your keys in the other hand. Also good tip for the ladies just in general to always have your keys in your hand. But that way it just helps you really feel aware of where your hands are and what you're doing with them, so that you don't realize like, oh, I just like scraped my hand across this railing, or it's just, it allows you to be more conscious of things. You're not going to be going hand to face quite as much, because they're saying that's the number one way to contract the virus is more by touching a contaminated surface and thusly touching your face. So if you can just find a way to keep your hands occupied, whether it's by holding a golf club, holding your phone, whatever it is, it's actually not a bad thing.
Yeah, listen, keep your hands occupied, no problem.
Exactly, because you got your big bottle of booze.
Yes, these fingers can fit into any liquor cabinet.
Big bottle, this big.
Christina, thank you so much for joining us.
LPGA star Christina Kim, ladies and gentlemen.
No, thank you guys so much. This was awesome. You guys were so much fun, and I absolutely had an amazing time.
Yay! Next week, I'm not sure who we're either gonna have Lieutenant Governor Josh Green back next week, or Dr. Dara O'Carroll, who is like one of we got over 1,000 views in like 12 hours for Dr. Dara O'Carroll. He's a frontline local ER doctor, and he's got some great insight. And because of our podcast with him 2 weeks ago, he's now doing press conferences with the mayor several times a week. So I'm trying to get him back on the show next week as well. Anyway, so keep tuning in. Maleko, tell everyone where they can follow us and subscribe and all that kind of stuff.
All right, so if you like the show, tell your friends. You can visit us on MalekoandFlash.com, where you can see our videos. You can subscribe to our podcast. You can even catch our daily shows, which are these little 15-minute mini quarantine episodes. We'll teach you how to make drinks. We'll teach you how to work out. We'll teach you how to have some fun while you're stuck, cooped up in the house. That's all at our website, MalekoandFlash.com. If you're subscribing to us on iTunes or on Google or on Spotify or Pandora Podcast, be sure to leave us a comment. That way people know that you loved or hated the show. Either way, we want to know. And even if you hated the show, just rate us 5 stars and then just say the same. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Christina, thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you. Mahalo.